We didn't come this far to slow down now. Let 2021 be the year that you light up, that you wake up, that you shake up that special something in your soul, that you reach out and work for that health, that life, that vibrant living you know is possible. Let this be the year. Let this be the day. Let this be the moment that you believe in miracles again.
Hey everybody, it is Dr. Devin Verana, and to say I'm excited for this one would be a wild understatement. I have been engaged like the rest of the world on the edge of our seat, watching the play-by-play of the 2020-2021 saga unfold, and there's been a few key players. I'm going to call them my Avengers, my superheroes that have been fighting the good fight and standing for truth and defending our freedom and liberties. And there's this one guy, and turns out he's a chiropractor. So I like him even more, and he is all over, and you're going to see so much more of him with documentaries coming. I saw him on a big podcast that we're going to highlight here in just a second, but please welcome to If They Knew, Dr. Ben Tapper.
Well, thanks for having me, and welcome listeners. It's good to be here.
Where do we begin? I guess first, tell them, the little bio. Where are you in the world? Who are you? Who's Ben Tapper?
Well, I'm just a small town chiropractor, in a bigger town, Omaha, Nebraska. I like to say Omaha is a huge town compared to what I grew up in. We grew up in a town called Akron, Iowa. And it's not to be confused with Akron, Ohio, but Akron, Iowa is a town of about 1,000 people. So I love small towns. I have a small town just feel, basically, I've been in practice here for 10 years. I come from a family of chiropractors. My dad practiced for 43 years. My sister's a chiropractor. Her husband's a chiropractor. I grew up with a chiropractic philosophy, mentality. Basically, it was I shouldn't say indoctrinated, but it was definitely taught to me at an early age. And it was just, I thought that was the norm till I realized that our way of thinking was the minority way of thinking. And it wasn't the normal way of thinking, and most people were just so indoctrinated into the allopathic world, and so that's where I'm at. I practice here in Omaha, Nebraska, and I've been here for 10 years. My practice is called the Wellness Point, and I'm a dad of 4 lovely kiddos, my spider monkeys, and they're the joy and the highlight of my world, and really they're my biggest motivation to why I speak out and why I'm so proactive in this fight.
So, how old are your babes?
So all my kids have an O name. I call them, they're my Cheerios, sometimes Cheetos. But I have Ophelia. She is 10, and she's my little princess. She's my only girl. She's my oldest. Her name means God's helper. She lives up to that name. Then I have Owen, and his name means God's warrior, and he's 8. And then I have Olson, and he's my little comedian, and his name means son of Ole. And then I have Oswin, and that's God's friend. So we call him Ozzy Bear. He's only 3 years old. Olson's 5, Owen's 8, Ophelia's 10. So they're my Cheerios, and my wife is Kathy. But yeah, they're a lot of fun.
So listeners, watchers, I think you can tell a few things, right? This guy loves his family. He is committed to God, and he has been raised in chiropractic truth. Now, there's this thing called the big idea, which I like, right? And chiropractic to me in a very different sense. So I had never been adjusted when I started chiropractic school. So I had a very different chiropractic journey than you. And when I think about what it must have been like for you to grow up in it, I get so excited because my kids, it will be their normal, so to speak. What is it about our philosophy? Because for most people, they may see a chiropractor, they may have heard of a chiropractor, but like when you say chiropractic philosophy, when you say you were brought up in it and you have these deep roots in a different way of life, what does that mean? What's the big idea? What do you wish people could see in similar eyes to the way you see the world?
To trust the body to trust the innate intelligence side of the body was the biggest thing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've had injuries or certain things that were going on. And my dad, he would just be as calm as can be and would just say, trust, the body. He would adjust us at home. And my dad was our primary care at home. There was only just a couple of times where I remember going to the ER, and that's because I had a saw go through my ankle at a young age, and it went 3/4 of the way through my talus, and basically, I lost all function of my foot. And thank the Lord that they sewed it back up, and thank God for trauma care. And they stitched me back up, and I regained function of my ankle and my foot. So I got to see firsthand, wow, trauma care is great. But my dad, would tell me that they are not doctors of cause. They're not the doctors of wellness and prevention, but they serve a purpose. They serve a great purpose, and we are thankful for them. But we need to understand that doctors of chiropractic, we can stand on authority knowing that we are the only doctors that really recognize cause. And that's where it's all about. And so that's kind of growing up. I got that, mentality, thinking, okay, we can trust the body in certain situations. And if we need trauma care, we can go to those people, and they're not our enemies, but the biggest thing is just trusting the body, and you can give the body what it needs, and you can be well.
So how would that shapeshift the reality we're living in? Do you think the majority of people trust their body or the intelligence within?
I mean, certain people do. I mean, and I think they're mostly in chiropractic offices. But the biggest thing is there's a great divide, and there's a great intention to indoctrinate people that they need to be dependent upon pharmaceuticals or other products. I mean, this whole corona baloney thing has been really one big agenda to put a vaccine on a pedestal and to be the savior of the world. And that's what this whole thing's about. It's just, there's nothing you can do naturally. I fought these hospitals here in town, and they're very powerful hospitals, like the Nebraska Med Center, and they put out articles saying that there's nothing you can do naturally. And I took great offense to that. I said, it's absolutely hogwash. I said, what about sleep? Sleep can decrease cortisol levels, and that can be a powerful way to help boost the immune system. And, so just tell people there's nothing you can do. Don't get good rest. I mean, if you really want to save the world and help and do everything you can, wouldn't you try to exploit every avenue that you can naturally? But no, there's nothing you can do naturally. Just wait till the savior of the vaccine comes, and that's going to be the savior of the world. And that's what we're seeing right now. But the most people do believe really that there's no hope, that they don't have an immune system. I mean, the immune system is not a conspiracy. I mean, it's, for crying out loud, we have the immune system that's fully capable of handling this, and we need to trust that system, trust the body.
So the lesson then, as we bring the trajectory back, because I do believe some of the blessings in all of this is there are ancient wisdoms, and there are foundational truths of the way our anatomy and physiology and spirit within work. That's not going to blow away with the wind. And this is actually having more people talk about what's been going on in our world for decades. It's on the forefront. So what do you wish people knew that would help empower them as they make these big decisions? Do I wear the thing? Do I get the jab? And who do I trust? What do you say into the world, guys? If you get this, how do you speak to the people that are learning how to trust their bodies, or to the paradigm breaking down? How do we serve them? How do we empower them?
First of all, we need to teach them not to live in fear or make a decision rooted in fear. I mean, the great Fred Barge stated that fear is the fire that fuels the furnace of disease. We need to understand that when we are fearful, we don't think logically. We're in a sympathetic state. We're in a fight or flight state. Cortisol levels are high. We're not thinking rationally. We're not thinking logically. And so we're going to make a decision rooted in fear. And so, first of all, we need to step away from that. Never make a decision, especially a health decision, that's based and rooted in fear, and just trusting. I am a spiritual guy. I think, I like to say, trust the Lord and not live in fear. Fear is the disease. Fear is the virus. And just knowing that if we give the body what it needs, we can be well. Now, I'm not talking like, a lot of people will give me flack. Well, what about genetic pathology? They're listing off diseases, or I'm sorry, pathology that was genetically acquired. But it's like, there's certain cases where that can be the case. And I'm not talking about that. If you have a genetic pathology like Down syndrome or cystic fibrosis, that's a different story. But what I'm talking about are obviously epigenetic type issues. And if we give the body what it needs, we can be well, and we can trust that. I mean, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. We can trust that the body, the innate intelligence, if we give the body what it needs, we can eat well, move well, think well, pray well, relate well, we can be well. And that's what it's all about. And remove the obstruction of healing and let that healing to occur, and you can heal and you can be well.
And you know that you know that you know these things. There's no shaking you from these roots that you have. Why? Because I remember the first video that went viral of you going to speak, right? So I would love for you to share, why do you feel, because you guys can hear, you can feel the conviction in this man's voice when he speaks these truths. Why have you felt so called to speak up? Because some people might believe these things, but they haven't spoken up maybe as loudly. And how have you tapped into the courage to do so?
Well, first of all, back in 2019, well, we should rewind just in 2017, we started a group called Nebraska's for Medical Freedom. We saw these bills coming away. We saw these bills coming through the nation, sweeping the nation, trying to eradicate vaccine freedoms or just medical freedoms in general, your right and refusal to, or an exemption to a vaccine. And they're coming after us and the bills. And so I was very outspoken about this. I said, hey, we got to be proactive in this fight. And then in 2019, the World Health Organization stated that they can't, or the greatest threat in the world are those who refuse the jab or talk about, refuse any vaccines. And then shortly thereafter, the subdivision of the CDC, the ACIP, which is the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, they stated that they can't force vaccination, but they can force compliance. Well, it was all kind of fit in the narrative here. And so in November of 2019, I held a conference. I rented out the convention center here a few blocks down at the hotel, and I invited a bunch of people, and we had a really good turnout in the middle of a blizzard. We filled the convention room, and I said, guys, I don't know what's coming, but something big is coming our way. Mm-hmm. I said, we have to be very proactive in this fight. And then 1 or 2 months later, Corona came. And I was very skeptical about this. I looked at all the testing. I read into the testing. I said, this is not diagnostic. This is hogwash. I looked at the NVSRS numbers for the CDC. I said, there's manipulation of data occurring. They're combining these numbers or manipulating data to give this illusion that this is a deadly, deadly virus, and they're not telling us the truth here. So I had these convictions that they were just growing and growing. And I knew that I was going to catch flack for this, and I knew I was going to get persecuted. But again, my convictions were greater than my complacency. And so I just felt I had to speak out. The Bible says when a person has a light, they don't put it and cover it. They put it on the shelf for all to see. And the same thing is with truth. When you know the truth, and when the majority of people are believing this lie, then the soil for the truth is rich. And we need to understand that, and understand that people are starving for what we have to offer chiropractors. We need to understand that the message of hope and the true message of chiropractic, not to deliver a message of chiropractic, but a chiropractic message to the people, because they're starving for it. Their ears are open, their mind is open, and they're starving for what we have to offer. So I didn't go down there at the city council to speak because I really wanted to. I feel like I had to. In fact, I like to say I'm a leader in my community in this movement. And so when we had a mask meeting, it was on a Tuesday, and I had a full schedule, and so many patients were like, all right, Dr. Tapper, you're going to come down and speak. And I was like, I'm not sure. I felt like I should be there. And honestly, I got down there, they had a meeting, and I didn't speak, and I lost sleep. I was like, I should have been there. And then I heard like, hey, they're going to have more public hearing a week after. And I was like, and this is the big one. I was like, thank the Lord. I was like, God's timing was perfect. I was like, I was meant to be down there at this time. Yeah. So when I got down to the city council meeting, the city hall, it was filled to the brim. Mm-hmm. I was the only doctor in opposition, mind you. They gave all these doctors all the time in the world, and I was there. And my wife said to me, you better know what you're getting yourself into. Do you see all those cameras? And I said, yep. And so I prayed, God, turn me into a lion. And I said, I pray, let these words travel far and wide. And I literally got the vision of David and Goliath before I spoke down there. But I went down there and I spoke from the heart. I spoke with convictions and I just let it pour out of me. And I went home and I had no idea what was happening. But when I got to bed, my phone was blowing up. And I opened up social media and my social media looked like it was broken. It looked like the 4th of July. It just kept you try to click on things and it was just like going crazy. I'm like, what just happened? What did I just do? And, the video had 3 million views in 24 hours. And I'd always joke with my wife, and I would say, hey, my video went viral. It's got 4 shares. And this had 3 million views in 24 hours. And this goes to say what BJ said, we never know how far reaching something we may think, say, or do today will affect the lives of millions tomorrow. And, I'm just little small town chiropractor. And it's just like, if anybody that's listening, I just want to encourage you that your voice matters. I don't care if your voice shakes. I don't care if you are terrified to go. You don't need to be a public speaker. You don't need to do anything, but your voice matters. You matter. And what you have to offer to the people, if you're a chiropractor, you have one of the most, in my opinion, one of the greatest assets to the people and to health in these times, because literally they're setting the stage for chiropractors to take the reins of this, to show the meaning of true health. And that is what it's all about. And we need to stand our ground and stand on the philosophy. I mean, I'm not saying chiropractic's a religion, but what we have is the truth. The truth is on our side, and we need to speak the truth with conviction, and because the people are starving for it.
Now, 3 million views, breakdown, because it was a short video. It's not like you gave an hour-long lecture. You had some concise messaging there, but basically you said what that day?
Well,
and we're going to share the video, but like, if you summed it up, what would you say the messaging was that day?
Well, I just stuck it to him. That's the best way I can say it. I just stuck it to him and said, I just gave, a very consolidated message of, almost like the middle finger on one hand. And then I gave them like, hey, this is what it really is. If this is about health, then mandate healthy living, exercise. And, I quoted Benjamin Rush, and I love the quote, but he said, we need to put medical freedom in the Constitution because the time will come when medicine will form into an undercover dictatorship, restricting the art of healing to one class of men. And I said, the time is now. This time is now. That's what they're doing. When you eradicate, and, when we're not listening to the other physicians and this whole thing, like war on chiropractors, like chiropractors aren't real doctors, that is a indoctrinated mindset to think that, to put MDs on the pedestal, like they're the only doctors, because they're trying to restrict the art of healing to one class of men. And that's what this is all about. But we need to respect the art of healing. There's a lot of different healers in the world, but the real true healer lies within. And really the healers are the ones that recognize that. Those are the true healers. And that's what it's all about. But what I did was I just gave a concise message. I had to listen to propaganda for 4 hours. So I was like a dog in a kennel, first of all, when I was down there. And
Yeah. And so you get up there, you blow the guys up, you got to go watch the video to get full context of this interview. And it was that you called out all the things that weren't adding up. And then you delivered a very simple set of truths, and 3 million people resonated with you. I'm sure there was flack. I'm sure there were haters there, right? It's not all good press and sunshine and rainbows, but for the most part, most of your feedback was good. Yes.
So I was trying to do the math. We had, thousands and thousands and thousands of messages. It was overwhelming. And if you sent me a message and it got lost, I didn't respond, I'm sorry. I tried to respond to everybody I could, but it was overwhelming. And obviously I got flack. I had doctors call my office from all over the nation saying I'm not a real doctor. I had no business speaking on these matters. I had people leave me negative reviews. Not once have I ever had a 1-star review. So if you're listening, come support us and show us some support and love and leave us a review. But anyway, the thing is, we had negative reviews left. Some people said, the office smells like cabbage. This guy, he's not a real doctor, or he hurt me. And none of these were patients. They were just people trying to attack me. And I got persecuted. My phone was hacked. I had slander all over. I got labeled this disinformation dozen. I got there's articles about me that said I'm one of the reasons for prolonging the pandemic. These made national news. And I was out to dinner last month or a month prior, and the couple, they're like, "Didn't you see the news?" I said, "No." They're like, "You made Fox News last night. They're talking about your disinformation dozen, and they said your name." And I'm just like, "That's lovely." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a badge of honor, but really, I don't even, I don't want to do this for publicity. I just want to wake people up." But I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. But the biggest thing is that, it's just, I don't know where I was going with that, but it's just.
Well, and I think that, it's been a long haul since you did it. And since then, yes, there have been the people in the disinformation dozen, guys. There's people getting kicked off of social media left and right, deplatformed. I talked to Alex Zek this morning. I think he's been taken off 4 different times. And so they, the easiest way to, try to discredit someone is to create outlandish, anti-vaxxer, anti-masker, this, polarity thing. And when in reality, you're just trying to we reserve the right and freedom to ask questions and to say no, and to engage in the way our tax dollars are being spent, and to, again, speak out when something is wrong. So,
Right.
So how do we put tools back in people's hands? Like I know you and I could talk chiropractic truth, and what chiropractic offices, I think, have been for a lot of people are safe havens, right? They are lighthouses. Like I told you, I changed the name of my practice during all of this. I can't fix you. Health is a process of doing the work, but I will guide you. I will support you. I will hold the ground for truth with you, but ultimately your body does the healing. And so guys, I think we both would say, find a chiropractor in your area that speaks that kind of language. What else do people need? Because I think we all know that it's going to get hotter before it cools down, and it's going to get harder before it gets easier, because we haven't yet hit the breaking point of what we're in right now.
Right.
So empower people with what they need right now.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to back up, because I remember what I was going to say, going back to the negative things and all those things. When we speak the truth, you're gonna upset people, especially in these times. You just have to know that going in. Principle number 1, if you are afraid to upset someone, just comply. Okay. Or just conform. And, the opposite of being courageous isn't being a coward. It's really just conforming. Okay. I digress. But the thing is, we must not let the negative few ruin the positive many.
Right.
We must not let the negative few ruin the positive many, because when you start speaking the truth, you will find those people that resonate with that frequency, and they will let you know, man, thank you. You are a hero. I don't know how many people call me a hero, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just bhtapper@yahoo.com. I'm not a hero, but I'm just speaking the truth, and people are resonating with it. Again, the soil for the truth, the soil for revival is rich right now, and the people are starving for what we have to offer. As long as you just get out there and speak it, people will resonate with it. And listen, you will be blessed for it. I can't tell you how upset I was at the chiropractic convention. I was so excited to go there. I was like, man, this is awesome. I need this. I need my brothers to band together. We're going to have like a movement, a revival. And when I got there, all the tables were 6 feet apart. Chiropractors were masked up, and I was the only guy without a mask on. I was like, what the fohize, fellas? I about stood up there and started lecturing. And I was just so upset. And then, all the cars, I'm like, why are you wearing this mask? What's going on? And they're like, well, I'm doing it for a business decision. I'm doing it for a business. And I said, you're in the wrong business. Like, this is not what this is about. I mean, you are a chiropractor. To me, this is a lifestyle. This is a purpose. This is our passion. And this is why I'm a chiropractor. Even if I wasn't in practice, I'd still be a chiropractor. I would still deliver the message. And that's what this is about. This isn't a business. And this is a livelihood.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about. We need to, practice this. And in the true field of practice is what graduates the physicians in this field, and understanding that. And give or take, there are some phenomenal entrepreneurs and business owners and all that, but that's great. But chiropractic is so much bigger than that. You get the big idea, all else will follow. And that's what this is about, getting the big idea and inspiring other chiropractors to stand their ground and have the confidence that they can do so. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah. And so, I mean, like I mentioned, I had never been to a chiropractor, but now I'm married to one. Both of my siblings are chiropractors. My sister-in-law is a chiropractor. I've got a couple of cousins, and it's because, yeah, we like to get adjusted. I love getting adjusted. I love the power coming on, but like what you just said, and what I hope we can connect more people to and fire more chiropractors up about, is that if people had our philosophy, it would serve them as big as the adjustment ever could, because they would tune back into the power that made the body heals the body. And that when given, the right chance to thrive, the body will always work for us, right? And there's always hope, and there's always miracles if we trust above, down, inside out thinking, right? So we want people to find safe haven in chiropractors. If you need somebody in Wichita or Omaha, we got you covered, but I bet both of us would be happy to find you somebody wherever you're at. What else do people need besides finding tribe and people who speak this kind of truth to get through the storms that are still going to come our way?
Well, they need to understand, first of all, I mean, I don't know how spiritual I can get on this channel.
Go for it. Let it fly.
Right. Well, I'm a spiritual guy. I believe God created the heavens and the earth and the stars, and I believe that we need to trust in him first and foremost. God wins in the end. That's what this is all about. I believe this is spiritual and psychological warfare on the people. I read Psalms 91 and I stand on that. We need to not live in fear, but just trust in the Lord that everything will be fine, and that everything, even in the rough waters, we can trust in him. God controls the waves, the wind and the waves. He's the way maker. When the world seems hopeless, he is the ultimate way, the way maker. We need to understand that. And that's basically how I get through my day. And I trust in him first and foremost. And, that's what this is all about. And so once you know that, it gives you a sense of peace, gives you a sense of just being calm. As crazy the world may seem, I feel like God is the water under the bridge, and he's the wind in our sail, and just trusting in him. Other than that, iron sharpens iron, a friend sharpens a friend. Finding like-minded people, getting together, and just have fellowship. Just stick together, band together. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to let your weaknesses out and be heard. So many people think, I'm so prideful, and the number one lie in the world is I'm fine. We need to be able to say, you know what, I'm not fine, man. I'm actually very upset. And you need to find that person that you can lean into and lean on. And that's what this is about. Suicide is the all-time high, and the news isn't doing its justice by reporting on that. We've had a 600 to 700% increase in antidepressant usage in the last year. And I've had very, very close friends commit suicide with two good friends. And one was a colleague that took their own life within 3 weeks of each other. And it was actually in the last month. And you and I had a scheduled talk, and it was actually the funeral was the day we had our last podcast. And so it was a very hard day for me. But the thing is, that's why, this is spiritual. This is very much spiritual and psychological. And we need to understand that we can trust in the Lord, and we don't need to live in fear. Fear is not from God, and it's really a tool of the enemy to cause you to be not reliant on him. And that's what this really, I believe this agenda is about.
I love the people and the stories that I've gotten to hear in these conversations in this podcast, because it's not run to the store and go buy this, this, and this. It's not go grab a bottle and take this, that, and this. It is, remember you have an immune system. Remember that you have a power and intelligence inside you. Go to your faith. And BJ always says, no one can anchor to an unanchored mind. And so if we are anchored in this trust in our own systems and our trust in the divine, and then proximity is power. So finding these people and leaning into their courage when you don't have your own, and stepping up when, because I watch, even a handful of you, I think you, Raymond Nichols, and Stan all got just that hate mail thing, some pretty significant, like, haters and just nastiness, and when those of us see it happen to the tip of the spear, it becomes our turn to lead the way, right? It's like we all have to work together as a team to lead this thing forward. Where do you see this going in the next few months? Do you have any predictions?
I think more and more people are waking up to this. And I'm hopeful. I remember literally I was praying like, God, shine the light on this whole corruption in the vaccine industry. We put on vaccine seminars here in the past few years, and we've been very vocal about it. I've studied basically vaccinations and physiology in that regard for over a decade. And I just felt very burdened by this and all those testimonials that would come my way. And I'm just like, goodness gracious. It's just like, I just felt this burden, this heavy weight. And I remember just, God, shine the light on this thing. And I remember waking up one morning, I literally almost like heard an audible voice, but very clear to me, be careful what you pray for, because I might use you to answer that prayer. And it's like in the next, I literally feel like there's this revival occurring. I mean, I've said this before, I said it on the show, but the truth is people are starving for the truth right now. And when the people are starving for the truth, that means there's the soil for revival is near. And we need to understand that there is a revival going to happen. I think there's going to be a spiritual awakening. There's going to be a spiritual revival. I mean, when you try to oppress the churches in Canada right now, I have a patient that's her dad's a pastor in Canada, and he has to go underground to have a church service. And his best friend got arrested because he had a church service. I mean, when are people going to wake up and realize, oh my gosh, maybe this is spiritual warfare? But what I see this happening, I'm going to have a very positive outlook. I see a change occurring. I see the true health leaders of the field stepping forward and taking the reins of this thing, and under the true physicians, the doctors with integrity, coming forward and really speaking truth with the convictions and authority and winning the people over. Because when Dr. Fauci speaks, he doesn't win people over. He's just speaking out both sides of his mouth. He is a administrative doctor. He's not a true physician. But when the true physicians speak, they will win the people over. And that's what this is about.
I love this so much. And that's been, I just went to an event with Holistic Hilda, who works with Weston A. Price, an amazing foundation, who's also been deplatformed for sharing too much truth. And Joel Salatine with Polyface Farms. And I don't know if that would have ever happened had this squeeze not occurred, right? But one of the things that Hilda did was like, we're going to talk about the road forward instead of the destruction and fear. We don't want to replace fear with more fear. We want to speak light and hope into people. And so that's why I'm, so excited you're coming to the big idea. And I know, we are going to get to talk about all the things that the elephants in the room and what the world could look like. And it is a collection of people who want to empower other people. And that's the physician. I love the statement, the doctor of the future is the patient. And our goal is to bring people back to that truth within themselves. And so now how do people find you? Because I know it's kind of tricky these days, but how do they stay connected to you? And you have a documentary coming out. Maybe we could talk about that. What's that going to be about?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, just dr.bentapper. My backup is just add a number 1 onto the back of that. I'm dr.bentapper, number 1 on Twitter, but I'm only on there for so long because they're trying to deplatform me. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska again, but our documentary is going to be huge. It's going to be called The Time Is Now. And we're trying to raise funds for the documentary. We've already raised about $13,000 in the last few weeks for the film. Our goal is to hit about $50,000 to make this work. But this documentary, we have, I'm not sure if you've seen Angela, also Sean, they had the convulsions from the vaccine. They're both nurses in the healthcare field. But we have, they're going to be on film for us, their testimonials. They were just on Dale Bigtree's show here not too long ago. But the thing that they need, people need to understand, I've talked to Angela for like an hour and a half. She's like the sweetest lady in the world, but their testimonies are going to shake the world. People aren't moved by logic. They're moved by emotion and stories. And so when we get their stories on film, it's going to really shake the world, because they trusted the system. They had the COVID vaccine, and then within 24 hours, they've had major injuries, and they still are suffering these injuries, and they're not getting help. They can't even work, and the hospitals are treating them for migraines, and they're not even really addressing the cause. They're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is that the vaccine caused the injury. And so Angela told me that they're in a group chat with like 24 other nurses that had the same issue, and they're all being censored on social media. And I love the quote, and I'm sure you've heard this, but George Martin stated that if you cut out a man's tongue, you don't prove him a liar, but you're fearful of what he might say. And it's like, what are they so afraid of? By speaking, this truth, but the censorship is the tool of the tyrant when the lie loses its power. And so we are trying to expose that. Again, I don't want to just focus on the doom and gloom. There's a method of preaching. It's called the Lowry loop. And in the Lowry loop, you talk about the doom and gloom. You talk about how, oh my gosh, you're heading for the cliff. It's destruction. But then it turns a corner. And then you talk, obviously point fingers to the Lord and Jesus, and then you turn the story around. But, this documentary is going to follow that Lowry loop. We're going to talk about all the doom and gloom, the censorship, all the corruption, yada, yada. You kind of go down this hole, but then all of a sudden we're going to have the true physicians understand the meaning of true health and speak light into this, that you can be well. You can trust the system. We don't need to live in fear. And that fear is the fire that fuels the furnace of disease. And if we can just trust an innate intelligence inside the body that's telling your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your cells to communicate, we can be well. We don't need to live in this fear. Fear mongering is evil. It's demonic, and we don't need to surrender to the fear. And so this documentary is going to be a lighthouse. It's going to be to bring the light into the darkness and give hope to the hopeless.
Guys, if he's speaking your language, chances are if you're listening at this point, then I know he is. Come meet him in person. Come learn more about this documentary. Stay connected with him on social and on his website, and you can feel it. I say this about Del Bigtree too, but I hear it whenever I see your videos. My soul knows it's true. There's this feeling that you get, like you said, there is logic. You could frame research to say there's truth over here and there's truth over here, but you can feel. And when you and Del speak, it's like y'all take me to church, right? There is just this passion and purpose and intention. And those are the people that I choose to stay very close to during this time. And I hope this helps connect more people to your mission, because big things are coming. So guys, join us in Wichita. June 26th, where you can hear Ben and get all the feels in person. Any message you want to leave people with?
Again, I just want to inspire others to let you know that your voice matters. That's the most important thing to get. The reason why I do these podcasts and everything else, I just want to inspire other chiropractors and other people listening that your voice matters. And, you don't need to be out in the city council meetings to really make a difference. You can just inside your own foreign walls, inspire your patient base, let them know and give them hope, inspire them. Be the lighthouse in the world right now. We need lighthouses. We need more lighthouses to bring that light into the world. And the time is now. That is the most important thing that we can understand. The time is now.
Yeah, it's time to rise. It is time to shine. You are not alone. Do it for your family. Let's do it for our kids, for this world that we're going to hand them. And we do it by living it. And so it doesn't have to be at the big meetings. It doesn't have to be loud and proud on social media if you don't want it to be. You just got to speak your truth to the people that matter most. So thank you for joining us today, Dr. Ben. Guys, if we can support you in any way, I know this man is a heart of gold, and we're here. So seek the truth, and it will always find its way. So we love all of you. We're cheering for humanity. We're betting on God to take us through this thing, and brighter days are ahead.
Amen.
So thank you. You go serve it up in that beautiful practice of yours this afternoon, and we'll be seeing you soon.
All right, and thanks so much.
Thank you, Dr.
Well, what'd you think? Thank you so much for investing your time and your energy to share in the conversation on this episode of If They Knew.
The whole vision was to invite some of my favorite storytellers, mentors, teachers, and guides that inspire me to live healthier, to live happier, to live more free, more authentically me. I hope that something they said, something they shared, opened up a little piece of you that had been there all along and just needed a little nudge to remember. If you have any feedback, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post it in the comments or reach out to me directly. If you know somebody that you think would make us a good interviewee, send me your suggestions. You are the reason, you are the motivation for this podcast, for these conversations. If you really want to crank up the light in your health and life, be in Wichita, Kansas, and join us for the big idea on June 25th, 26th, and 27th. We're going to blow you away with speakers from all over the country who are going to elevate the game when it comes to what it means to live vibrantly alive. This is the community you've been looking for. Now, there's big work to be done. And if we want to see change in the world, we've got to start with ourselves. So I hope that this episode and the different things I share on social media and the events that we host help bring it all together. I love you. I appreciate you. I am so, so very grateful for this space and for you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll see you soon.